I'm back. So I don't have actually any more turns to play right now, unfortunately, but let's talk about some of the other squads against Team Fortress, and then maybe if we still don't have any more turns to play, we can always go through the other Shaolin tournament game, which is still in progress, but there's been a lot more turns, so I can kind of get the commentary caught up on that game as well. The first game of that series did conclude early this week. I put up the commentary on YouTube last night, so if you want to get some cool pointers and see some fun Shaolin versus Shaolin action, and to check out the conclusion of that tournament, feel free to go to my YouTube page. It's Elagatua is my name on there, but I think it's just youtube.com/tuamater. Yeah, so you go to youtube.com/tuamater. That's my YouTube channel. I've got all the Twitch VODs up on there, and you can watch the Shaolin Temple tournament finals. I think it's game 2 is the one that's completed. So if you in that, feel free to check that out. Ah, cool. Mandy's gonna play, so sweet. Gals mix goes good with anything. Alright, so this is Dark Elves versus Team Fortress, and no Void Monks on the board to start, which is good. This Necro is out on a hunt for this Power Boost tile, and this Controller is on a hunt for the Speed Boost tile, so it's a little scary. So what I want to do is I want to put my Spy out here so that if he takes this Power Boost tile, then my Spy should be able to threaten any unit that goes in there. I'll want to maybe put a Sniper here as well, just to kind of consolidate that threat. I was considering suiciding a Scout to block that tile, but I'm not sure if that's the best choice. Maybe getting a Heavy down there. Something like this. I kind of need to turn cards. I'm a little desperate. But I don't want to block this deploy tile. I'm not that desperate. But yeah, I need to get some threats out on the board. This is decent though. None of my units really get endangered by this move. I get some soldiers, so hopefully I'll be able to bounce some units around the board later on. So let's talk about Team Fortress versus Dwarves. This is, to me, one of the toughest matchups for Team Fortress. Dwarves just have a lot of ways to kill your medics, and if they're really determined to spend a lot to take them down, there's just not that much that you can do to protect them. So I find it very challenging. They also have very strong AoE with the Grenadiers and with the Annihilator, and since Team Fortress has a lot of units, they tend to be more vulnerable to AoE than some of the other squads. So this is a challenging matchup, but the good news is that Dwarves thrive by stacking particular units with a ton of upgrades, like +3, +2 units, and so Girardi is very efficient against that. So one of the keys to playing against Dwarves is using your Girardi wisely. Generally, Jurati is always a good idea against Annihilators that have a bunch of upgrades, Grenadiers that have a bunch of upgrades. If there's Gunners that have a bunch of upgrades, the trick is that you need to kill one stacked unit, one heavily upgraded unit, without using the Jurati. So if the Dwarf player decides to upgrade his Gunners, that's generally the one that I try to kill off without spending the Jurati, because of all the units, I feel like the Gunner is the least threatening of the three. But I think often you'll see the items go on the Grenadiers and the Annihilators. So it's really just a matter of using your spies well. Spies are obviously great against Grenadiers. They're very tough to kill, unless you're using the Gunners. Problem is they're very vulnerable to drills, and they'll get hit by the splash damage if the Grenadier is attacking an adjacent unit. And then really it only takes 50 HP of splash damage for the spy to be vulnerable to a drill. Like you can even see in this game, like this spy is at 590 HP, and if he wasn't on this defense tile here, he could be killed in one shot with just a drill coming down from the sky. So using the spy is very important. Very important to upgrade your pyros and use your sandwich as well. I think pyros and spies are worth upgrading in this matchup. Another thing that you can think about is the demo men. Demo men, if you're able to get them upgraded in a good position, can start to just do a ton of damage. And if you rain down that AoE, dwarves tend to clump a lot because they want to benefit from the paladin aura, which is increasing their defense. And so the demo man is a good way to punish them for doing that, and if you are able to do enough damage into that formation, even if you sacrifice a demo man, maybe that opens up the possibility of diving in with a pyro, or sniping a unit, or running in with a spy, or sacrificing a soldier. So something else, some way to kind of to break down that dwarf fortress. You only need a little bit of opening before you can really start to take control of the match. But yeah, Jurati's on stacked units, and respawn tokens on spies, pyros potentially, and medics. Probably not worth spending respawn tokens on anything else though. Let's talk about tribe. So I've talked a lot about how to play Tribe against Team Fortress over the past few weeks, because the game against Monkey Warlock has been that matchup. And I've said that I prefer to spend swords and chieftains for sure, and then generally I spend my third sword, or if the opportunity allows it, I like sorting my axe throwers, because they kill most Team Fortress. They kill virtually every Team Fortress unit except for the heavy in 2 shots. So when you're playing against Tribe, the good news is that strategically it's not very complicated to figure out what you should use your Juratis on. You've got 2 Juratis and your opponent has 2 chieftains, and you pretty much just want to jar the chieftains. It's generally that simple. So not much to worry about as far as strategy is concerned. Spending your jars, just kill the chieftains with the Jurati. This matchup is very much about protecting your medics, and it's much harder against Tribe than probably any other matchup, because of the tidal waves because the Axors kill your units so quick, because the Chieftains have like the ability to suck in units from other places on the board, there's a lot of unexpected stuff that can be thrown at you, and it only takes one slip up for you to lose a medic, and then you're trying to run a marathon on a peg leg, right? You only get one medic from the rest of the game, and you can't heal that medic. If you get stomped, then you're pretty much in suicidal attack mode. Things can get out of control very quickly, so it's very important to keep both medics alive. And try to make that hard. So you need to be conservative with your medics, keep spies around them, keep pyros around them, heavies, whatever you need to do to make sure that they're not going to get sniped off. Use Druides on the Chieftains, and then you'll have to kill another sorted unit somehow without a Druide, but you have enough threats between your pyros and your soldiers and your demo men, everything, where it's not that hard, because outside of the Chieftains, even if they sword and shield another unit, it's still going to be 3-shottable by even a non-upgraded pyro or soldier. So you have a lot of options to take out those units. It's also one of the lesser important matchups for engineers. You want to put your upgrades. You want to definitely get upgrades on your spies. It's really, really important to do that, because other than shielded warriors, upgraded spies will one-shot any unit that Tribe has, spike shielded or not, other than spiked chieftains. So spiked warriors and spiked chieftains will not be one-shot by a spy from behind, but any other unit is vulnerable. So upgrading the spies is super, super, super important, and that should always be your priority. In this game, you can see that I've upgraded the sniper, which is kind of like a whatever. But I've left upgrades off of the demo man and the pyro to stay AP, but I'll definitely get both of these spies upgraded, because I can still, well, I can't kill the switch because he's on the defense tile, but that's kind of a rare case where you'll have a defense tile on the map. But this axe thrower could be one shot. This warrior is one shot because it doesn't have a, could be one shot because it doesn't have a spike shield. So it's just a very powerful unit. And again, respawn tokens on spies, pyros possible. An upgraded pyro will 3-shot a shielded chieftain even. So pyros are really great for killing chieftains, especially pairing them with the sandwiches. Sorry about that, had to sneeze. And I messed up the music too, I fear. In this game I spent my sandwich on a spy, but earlier in the game I had one on a pyro. It's just a good way to kill tough units by sticking that sandwich on a pyro sort of near your back lines, but not too far back, and then rushing them forward to grab a tough to kill unit. Let's try. Let's see what happens here. Interesting. 2 swaps. I'm not sure I'm actually going to do this. Because a spy for a necro is not worth it. What I might do is I might knock this impaler back. off of the speed boost tile. If I want to do that, I should upgrade. Kind of like this move. I'm still pinned back, but if you want to trade an Impaler for a Soldier, it's not amazing. Yeah, I don't actually know about that. My favorite trick is putting the snipers on the attack tiles. That is always something you should keep in mind. Like if there's an attack tile that you control, putting a sniper on that tile is just pure gold. It's amazing. Well, I could KO this Impaler. Doesn't really do anything for me in terms of development. Trips on. Sick. I could lose this heavy if he spends a soul bomb, but it's probably worth it with this few units on the map. So I'll sacrifice a heavy for that purpose. And I'll probably get the Impaler next turn as well with the Pyro. And yeah, I think that's actually safe. And if nothing else, I'll force out some more units, and I'll have some breathing room. This rack here. Okay. So we talked about Team Fortress versus Council. We talked about Team Fortress versus Dark Elves. Talked about Team Fortress versus Dwarves, and we've talked about Team Fortress versus Tribe. Well, there's only one squad left, and that's Team Fortress versus Shaolin, which. If you were watching some of the first weeks of my stream, you'll recall that Team Fortress vs. Shaolin is the most broken match in the history of broken matches. And the reason for that is very simple. It is because Team Fortress has 4 300 magic damage units, being the 2 Pyros and the 2 Soldiers, and when they are upgraded, they become 390 damage, and 390 times 2 is 780, and Poisoners, which are the staple unit of Shaolin, only have 650 HP, which means that the staple unit of Shaolin can be 2-shot by 4 units on Team Fortress, and that is difficult to overcome. Especially when you take into account that the Pyros, you can't block Pyros. They aren't blockable. That's just not how they roll. So that's a huge challenge. Additionally, Team Fortress, yeah, Trip says he doesn't even upgrade Poisoners against Team Fortress anymore. I agree, I don't either. Maybe swords, maybe, but really, like, swords don't even do any good with Poisoners, because with 2 shots from a Poisoner, you still leave any 800 HP unit at 50 health left. It is nice for 2-shotting 650 HP units. It's pretty much the only thing it's good for. The way you want to use your Poisoners against Team Fortress is to potentially suicide them and try to get a debuff on the medic. If you can get the debuff on the medic, then anytime you drag in the medic, you can just you can kill it with a Dragon Bamboo Stomp at any point in the future, assuming he moves the medic off the deploy tile. So, as Team Fortress playing at Shaolin, what you want to think about is you want to upgrade your Pyros and your Soldiers, very important. You want to kill Poisoners. You want to look for an opportunity to jar kill the the shadow. One thing you have to remember is you cannot pre-Jurati the shadow, because Taoist can dispel the Jurati, and if you do that, then you've just wasted a jar, and you'll feel silly, and it accomplishes nothing. So, so you have to take advantage of the Jurati in the same turn that you apply it. So it makes it a little harder to kill the shadow, but the trade-off is that your whole army is really good against the rest of the Shaolin units. Yeah, so focus on upgrading your pyros, upgrading your soldiers, keep your medics safe from poisoners. That's the single most important thing to keep in mind. Because if you lose your medics, then you're forced into a situation where he can kind of chip away at you as the Shaolin player. And that's really like the most common way where as Team Fortress that matchup can kind of slip out of your grasp. So always make sure that your units, especially your medics, are protected from the poisoners. Even if the poisoner's just going to run in and suicide on you. And let's see what we got going on here. I think at this point, now that I've forced the Impaler to retreat, I can safely grab this Necromancer. Yeah, this seems pretty safe. My development is pretty awful, but I'm killing units. This heavy is like theoretically at risk, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I do something like this. Maybe I'll leave that follow-up for next turn. Kind of liking this. Because if he wants to KO this heavy by like moving the Necro onto the attack tile, obviously he'll lose the Necro, but he'll lose the Impaler as well. So I'll trading heavy for a Necro and an Impaler and a bunch of damage on the back crystal, and I'll get a nice development advantage as well with board position. So I'm liking that. It's kind of a devious move. That heavy attack range is really wonky, and it's one of the few situations where it can actually hit 4 units in that L formation. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a slow day today. Unless you want to try and play me live on stream, Trip, we can do our Shaolin game or something. I don't know how much free time you have, though. I think Monkey Warlock is not around today. It's unfortunate. He is very close to being able to finish me off, I think. Should be able to. I should have thought about that move more. I'm not sure if there's a better move, but after I kind of like thought about the different okay. Yeah, so Trip said he's gonna start a game, so that's pretty awesome. So we'll have a Elagatua versus Trip live on stream. I don't think we'll be able to finish it today, but we can always get one going. This game is crazy. It was crazy. Okay. I forced a scroll out of him, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, force a scroll out of him. That's totally acceptable. So I think, I will now just get some more units on the board. Still looking for my first medic. Now, if you're asking why I didn't take out this Necromancer, even though I could have with the Spy, it's because he could run up with the Impaler and 3-shot it, and I wouldn't have any way to deal with it. So it'd still be a it still wouldn't accomplish that much for me, unfortunately. If I upgrade my soldier, I'll be able to one-shot both these units, assuming they don't get healed at all. So I can think about that. Okay, things are quiet right now, so I think I'm going to take a quick break, and once the trip is on and we get some turns going in that, I will come back and we'll start shooting that. So I'll be back.